Howdy, everyone. We are live. I see so many of our buddies in chat right now. As we wait for everyone to trickle in, I would love to know from y'all, where are you based and what are your favorite design tools? I'm live here with Billy from Replit and Replit team. We're going to go over some vibe coding hacks for designers and live demos. We take in your submissions from how you register on Luma and have some exciting projects like an text generator, cute photo generator, scam call detector, and more stuff. But during this live, just think about what you want us to vibe code on screen, and we'll share it with you. As we wait for everyone to trickle in, thanks everyone for saying hello in the chat. We'd love to know from y'all where y'all tuning in from, and what are your favorite design tools. So, Billy, where are you tuning in from? What are your favorite design tools?
I gotta unmute myself. Hi guys, I'm tuning in from Replit HQ, and there's Mr. Palmer. He's also here. But I'm usually based in Virginia, so I'm out here with Replit working on some content. I would say my favorite design tools. I use Figma. I use it for web design and add creatives every day. And then I like to use Replit to make landing pages. Sometimes I'll try V0 for landing pages too, and that's really kind of my stack.
Awesome. How about you, Matt? Where are you tuning in? And we love Figma. So excited about the IPO yesterday. I was too distracted by that. But how about you, Matt? Where are you tuning in from? What are your favorite design tools?
Amazing. Yeah, I'm not far from Billy. I'm just like in a different room over here. But yeah, also in Foster City, California at the Replit headquarters. Favorite design tools, big, very heavy Figma user. So congrats to the team, obviously. And then Replit, usually building apps with Replit. Any other tool that I can try out, I'm always down to try. But that combo seems to be pretty good for me.
That's awesome. I see you have like 100 people live on LinkedIn. I'm Grace, tuning in from Los Angeles, California. I live in both LA and SF. Currently at a Rivian HQ, actually, after like an event, like an investor event. My favorite design tool, I've been using Figma every day for like 6 years, investing in their stock as well. Not in financial advice, by the way. I also love Photoshop web. I use it like every day, and I love like I saw Terry mention San Francisco. Love generative fill in Photoshop to extend photos. I love generative fill in Photoshop to like. I take a lot of like touristy photos. I use it to like remove other people from my photos. So that's my favorite design tool. I see Julia joining in from Canada. Favorite tools for like Blender. Oh, I love Blender. It's like 3D software. Samantha is from Southern California. Figma and Python are your faves. That's awesome.
Wait,
Thank you
who's
everyone
using
for tuning in.
Python to design? That's amazing.
That is like super hardcore. Um, yeah, intense. Um, LinkedIn user from Ventura, California, Tenzin from New York, Figma and Canva. Bruce interestingly love demos. Blake live from Nebraska, love Figma, trying to learn about the coding side, Lovable, Ball, and others. Um, awesome stuff. Thank you all, like over 120 of y'all for joining live on a Friday. I know we hosted a bunch of events today at Design Buddies. Appreciate y'all for joining in. Oh, Nigeria! Oh my God, that's like it's like midnight your time. It's like so late your time. So I appreciate you from joining. You guys for a design tool. Tampa, Florida, Figma Lovable, Abigail UX Pilot, and Bolt Improvement Tools from Texas. Germany. Okay, we have like three continents we've collected now. Germany, it's late here, live plugging. I'm so honored that tuning from Germany as well. LA. Yeah, appreciate y'all over the world for tuning in late in your time to join us today. But we're so excited to partner up. I'm Grace from Design Buddies. I founded Design Buddies. We love partnering up with awesome design tools and dev tools like Replit to bring more awesome education, demos, and stuff you designers can learn and take in your workflow. So stay tuned for more events, but I'll hand it over to Billy and Matt from Replit to explain more about Replit. And also in the chat, comment below what you would like us to vibe code. Again, we prepped some vibe code demos that you guys have all submitted, but feel free to dump more in the chat as well. Billy, your mic is muted.
Yep, there we go. Yeah, really quick. Replit's a quick way to prototype Web apps, you can use them for landing pages, portfolio pages, or full-blown apps. Like you can make your own SaaS app, right? And so kind of just wanted to show you guys how you can bring some of your ideas to life and show you some of the ones that people submitted beforehand, what we kind of spun up here to show you. So maybe I'll just get right to it and kind of share my screen. Okay.
Then for everybody else just joining, I'm Matt, working DevRel at Replit. So I'm here kind of supporting Billy and Grace. Billy's an amazing super user of Replit, has started his own business, done some amazing things. So really just very in awe of the work that he's done. And here, I'm excited to see what he's built.
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome.
So this is what Replit looks like. And I wanted to showcase really quick, just right off the bat, you can easily import any Figma designs that you have. So right here, we've got this kind of demo design. And we're just going to take the link and go to import code, Figma design, and paste it in. And then it's going to build it out for us. This might take a second. So I'm going to go back to this one that I popped in earlier. And oh, it looks like it's only showing the top bar. So maybe we misconfigured this. So this is what always happens during live demos. There's bugs. But what you would do is you talk to the agent like you talk to ChatGPT and have it fix it. So, you might ask it, and I'm going to just dictate here. Like, I only see the top bar. Where is the rest of my website? And just see what happens here.
Wait, Billy, I think we lost your screen share.
Oh, no.
Awesome, we're back.
There we go.
Okay, cool.
Oh.
So yeah.
We lost it again. We lost it.
Okay, we can see.
Oh,
We
yes,
still have
got it. Yes.
Okay, cool. So yeah, I was just showing this is the Figma file that we imported, and apologies, there must have been something wrong with the file because we only have this part. But just like ChatGPT, you can come here and ask the coding agent, "Hey, what's going on with my app?" And it'll kind of edit the files and attempt to fix it for you. So it's going to do kind of this background coding stuff, and I think next, before we get into, we have all these apps that you guys kind of submitted ideas for. I just wanted to start up a really quick exercise app that I would recommend that you guys do after this, because it'll help your kind of design careers and help you learn how to use Replit. So like an important thing when you're starting in Replit or really any AI coding tool is I like to give it screenshots of a website or an existing app. It's like the style that I want. And the reason why that's important, I think at least, Matt could probably correct me here. I think if you think about it like the AI agent like a brain, if it's using too much thinking on design, then it kind of detracts from actually, it doesn't detract, but it's kind of splitting between design brain and app building brain. And so if you've got a design in mind, you might as well just say, hey, do this and give it direction. And so what I like to do is just take screenshots. And so I've got this download of just like a basic portfolio website from Behance, right? And I'm going to go ahead and just kind of describe to it. And again, I really encourage you guys to use this tool, Super Whisper, when you're prompting. You just click Option Space on your keyboard, and it's free. I've never run out of credits. And you can do voice to text, and that's important because when you're prompting with AI, it's really beneficial to be super verbose. And that's hard to do when you're, typing because you're limited on your typing speed. So we're just going to say, make me a website designer portfolio site that looks like the attached screenshot. My name is Billy Howell, and I make landing pages for mobile apps. The site should have a object storage database so that I can upload pictures of my designs, and they go into the portfolio section where I can add in links for people to click to those portfolio sites. We should probably make like an admin dashboard page where I can manage these portfolios. And so not only is it going to just make me this landing page, this portfolio site, it's going to actually create a backend where I can store images and store things like links to my projects, and I can make it'll make me an admin dashboard. So super powerful way. Like once you look around and you're like, I'm using, this site for my portfolio site, and I'm using this to hold my images, and you can kind of unbundle those and make your own and kind of claw back some of that monthly SaaS subscription. So I think it's a smart way to kind of save some money on software and make your website stand out. And it's also a really good tool, just to keep going on this, for client work. I like to use it for landing pages. I build apps, kind of internal apps, B2B apps for startups and small businesses. And we'll always just go ahead and make a landing page in Replit. It's super easy, and you can deploy it just like any other site. You connect it to like your GoDaddy or wherever your domain is. You can invite your client in as teammates to view the code or even make edits yourself. And then finally, and we'll show you here in a second, you can actually see we're back now in that Figma import. You can kind of edit just like in Figma in here. So if you go into Visual Editor, you can click on any of these elements on the screen essentially and change colors. We don't need the dropper here probably. So I could change this blue and then save it. I can click in and just type. I think maybe I'm doing something wrong here. Oh, it might be because the element's nested. Let's try this. So we're having trouble with that. But you can also, the cool thing is, select these elements and tell the agent to just only edit this. So I could say like, add a background gradient to these cards. And you can edit just like that.
I think we lost the screen again.
I don't know why my computer does this. This is a interesting problem.
It's all good. I saw some good questions in the chat. So we got one user asking, "Hey, I've used Lovable. Will these techniques transfer?" I think so. I think good prompting is across platform, right? And it's all just about supplying the right context, getting the right information, helping AI understand like what you're going for.
Being verbose is really important. The other important thing is when the AI makes a mistake, to be diligent about rolling it back instead of just rolling with the mistake and putting bad code on top of good code on top of bad code. And so most AI agent cloud AI coding solutions have like a rollback feature like Replit. And so if you click rollback, it'll just undo all of that code and go back to where you were before. And so you can see it made this little gradient based on that prompt that I gave it. So that's super cool. Maybe are there any questions we need to hit? I might roll into the user suggested apps.
What makes a good prompt? Like, how do you go about writing a prompt from scratch in your experience?
That's great. So I start in ChatGPT almost every time, Grace. And so like I might do something where I've got my design inspiration. I'll put it in ChatGPT and say, I'm going to use an AI tool to develop a portfolio website that looks like this. It's going to showcase my mobile app landing page design projects. And I want it to have a backend where I can upload assets and a link to the projects. Please give me a brief PRD that I can give to the AI engineer to get them started. And so a PRD is basically a product requirements document that it's kind of like what you would hand an engineer when you're building a new feature. And I like to use ChatGPT to start out any of my Replit or Lovable or any kind of other AI coding projects. I think it's a really useful step. And so it's great because it'll lay out here the core pages for me, and I can go back and forth and I can edit this. And it's like I said, just helps you be really verbose and eliminate any of those gaps that the AI agent might struggle to fill in.
I love it. Thank you. Using ChatGPT to be your PM.
One thing I'll add on top of that, because that's a good pattern, is that sometimes when we just prompt like ChatGPT or Anthropic for PRDs, they'll include technologies that aren't relevant to our project, right?
Yep.
So it might say to use some external systems to do some other things. So we can't just necessarily copy and paste the PRD. But what can be useful is to actually say, do research on docs.replit.com. to update kind of how that looks, right? And so most tools have the ability to search the web. And so if you include that in your PRD results, the ChatGPT or Claude will go to the Replit docs, update that to make sure that it includes some more relevant technologies sometimes.
Yeah, that's a good point. Especially when you're building like an app, maybe not all the time with landing pages. I tell it to not pick like a software integration stack, and unless like I'm like, oh, we need to use Stripe, like unless I have a specific integration, because most of the time, whether it's Lovable, Bold, Replit, or whatever, it's going to have already like a structure in whatever flavor of React it uses in mind. So we want to let them do what they do best, and just tell it the integrations we absolutely must have. And definitely, anytime you can put in docs, that'll definitely help the AI understand.
And I think that's a really good point, right? Because you talk about like giving a lot of information to AI, but it's important the type of information that we're giving, right? Like we're being specific about what we want the output to look like, but not specific about the technologies to use. And we kind of let the platform decide the technologies, and we're deciding, oh, hey, I actually want this very specific kind of UI and output. So it's a good distinction, I think, there.
Yeah. And so what I'm looking at here now is I did this starting prompt in Replit for this portfolio site, and it kind of comes to you with a visual preview here and like a plan for you to approve. And so I didn't really like what I was seeing. So
I
I
think we might have
clicked,
lost the screen share again.
this is
No,
craziness. Sorry
sorry to
about this,
interrupt.
guys.
Yeah, no, it's all
Yeah,
good.
please do. Um, Basically, I told it, no, I don't really like this plan, and I put in that PRD that we got from ChatGPT to give it a little more direction. And now it's updating that visual preview and that plan. So I'm going to go ahead and click Approve Plan. And it's going to go ahead. This is like a visual preview, so it's going to actually just build out like the structure of the site and like the app database that we talked about. Grace, maybe I could go ahead and show some of these apps that people requested.
Yes, please. There's one. Very excited about the Uber one, but there's a bunch of apps too.
Yeah, let me see if I can find
Yeah.
that one.
The Uber one makes everything cute and makes everything to Uber text.
Here it is. Okay. So you'll notice like there's a preview tab here beside where you're talking to the Replit agent, but you can also pop this out and view it in full screen.
I think your screen share went away. Screen share.
I
There we go.
wonder I
Yeah.
wonder if it's no, I don't have a thing running. Anyway, here's the Uwu content studio that we threw together. So I might put in like, hey guys, this is Billy from Stupid Simple Apps. We'll do classic style. Pick this one. And yeah, look, it just does it right away. It's pretty awesome.
This is unhinged. This is amazing.
This is
I love
insane.
it.
This is
Hey
like,
guys, remember.
and so yeah, and so we also spun up this little image generator in here. Um, you can quickly make little tools like this for yourself, and it's really easy to any like API. Like, so if you want to use, I can't remember what API this is, but if you want to use like OpenAI to generate images or AI responses, you can easily just drop those into Replit, and it'll prompt you to put your keys in safely. So you can make little cat pictures like this. Oh yeah, it is Dolly. Cool, and it saves it as a gallery. Like I mentioned, that's one of the reasons why I really like Replit. It's really easy to get databases and storage set up where I think in a lot of other products you have to kind of connect to like a Supabase or a Firebase or something to store images. But in Replit, it'll just spin up a database here for you, and then object storage is the other module. Um, so that's pretty sweet. And then
Can you
the
show the
next,
prompt? The
yeah,
prompt.
that's a great idea.
Yeah.
Web-based creator application, core features, visual references, Style guide. So that's key. So that's probably something I need to be better at. Is including a style guide, because I mean it nailed it here. So that's super useful, I think, when we're starting out.
I think a really some really good sort of tips for designers specifically. If you can speak sort of that design language to AI, for example, describing how you want the border radius to look, describing what Google font you want it to use.
Yep.
AI is super good at using Google
Yep.
fonts as well. And then providing hex codes, providing things like that, especially if it's just like Tailwind, right? Replit kind of uses Tailwind, Agent uses Tailwind on the back end. And
Yep.
so if you can think about translating that quote unquote design language into the characteristics that you want to see, or what you saw in this prompt here, inspired by these aesthetics, inspired by these certain types of things. This is a great output.
Yeah, and the other thing that you can do is, if you have like an external component library that you like for example, I like ShadCN for apps. At the beginning, you can tell the agent, hey, let's use this component library, and you can just drop in a link to the docs on how to use it. So I'll just show you real quick. I won't run it, but it'll say, do you want to take a screenshot of this site? That's something you would do if you're putting in like a landing page that you like, that you want to take inspiration from. But for docs, you would click get text content, and it'll save that, and the agent can read it to understand how to use that integration. And so then it'll just pull in into, you can see it here in the file tree. It'll install and pull in those external visual components for you and use them in the app. So it's super useful. And Matt, maybe you could clarify, does it use, is there one that it uses by default, or?
By default, it does support ShadCN. So
Okay.
if you really love that style, Agent's really good at using ShadCN. The other thing I'll say though, in addition to what you just mentioned, Billy, which is a great tip, we also have web search now. So if you say, hey, I want to use this thing, do research on the web. There you go. You can see you have web search. I want to integrate this library or this API that I read about. Do research on the web to understand the latest techniques for building with it. Agent will go out there, it'll do research for you, and then build with those best practices. So I've seen a lot of really good success, especially if I'm creating like some design tools, right? Or I made like an image vectorizer, basically like takes an image and pixelates it, and that would be really hard normally. But Agent was able to do research and then build that.
Yeah, yeah. I like to kind of shop around and find the APIs for the use case that I'm thinking about. Maybe use like a chat GPT to do some deep research on what the best ones are, look for like open source ones. And then, like Matt said, just drop those into Agent. It can browse the web. You can do that text content thing that I just did, and it'll integrate. All it needs is a docs page. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, and so it's interesting what you're talking about, right? Because upfront, you're doing the work to understand like the little building blocks that you want in your application. You're like, oh well, what API do I want to use? Where can I find that? What how do I want my app to look and feel? Like where can I find that? How do I polish that up? So it's almost like this. You're planning it out a little bit. Maybe you're prompting ChatGPT, but you're really thinking about like the building blocks and then assembling those for AI in the prompts.
So, Matt, I've got a question for you here. So it's kind of building out this portfolio, but you kind of get to this point where you've got kind of the table set, like your scaffolding for your app, and then I want to make sure that the site's responsive. Sometimes I want to maybe make it look a little more modern, or just kind of make the style different. How do you think about prompting Replit to kind of change the styles and make sure everything's responsive?
Yeah, thanks. I think there are a couple ways to approach that. So first, if you have an app that you've been building for like days or weeks, and then you
Mhm.
decide you just want to overhaul the entire thing, that can actually be really hard for AI to do.
Yep.
And so I think upfront, thinking about like how do I want my style to look and how do I want these things to behave can be really important for like how agent configures the application. So if you want your app to be responsive, this is actually a really good term that AI can understand in the
Yep.
initial prompt. I want my app to be responsive. And then as we're thinking about design, I think it's very important to do that upfront rather than wait until you're like a month in.
Yeah.
Um, right. And so a lot of times, if I build out something and I don't like how it looks or feels, I'll actually just think about recreating that project, which isn't to say you can't make changes, but it is to say like sometimes you learn all of these like little things along the way, and then you're like, okay, with all that accumulated knowledge, like all these things I've learned, I can go and create a prompt that's going to get me to the same place like 10 times faster. And I see that in my own projects.
I totally agree about just blowing up. Oh, I wasn't even using high powered here. Anyways, I totally agree about blowing up an app rather than trying to completely overhaul it. You learn so much by kind of editing the app and tweaking it and making it better that you can get back to where you were going the correct route and not making all those mistakes like in half the time. Just with better prompting and knowing where you need to be. So I think that's a great tip is don't get too attached to your code.
Yeah, I see that all the time where people like worry that, oh, I'm going to lose this thing that I built, right? First, we have like a history in Replit, right? We have checkpoints, so you'll never lose your work essentially. But second, I think people underestimate how much they've learned and how much faster they can build things just from paying attention to how to prompt and whatnot. To answer your question more directly, how do you change the UI? I think using like that designer language, right? Like responsive is a very good example.
Yeah.
Like we have designers on the call, but maybe you're new. Responsive just means like mobile friendly or the ability to kind of resize screens in a smooth way and support various screen widths. And it's important for web design. It's also kind of hard to get right. So specifying that up front, using terms like responsive, again, border radius, specifying colors. Think about it like you're explaining something to another designer. And that's kind of what agent is. It's your design kind of buddy or engineer buddy. How can you explain things in a very logical, straightforward way such that this AI interface can understand what you're trying to communicate? And I think it really is just an art of communication. That's what most AI problems boil down to.
That's perfect. I think like maybe should we try another one from scratch or keep going through these user submitted ones?
Do you have any other user submitted one you're excited about?
Yeah, we've got Scam Guard here, and so they wanted something where you can paste in like an email conversation or like a voicemail that you got, and it'll use AI to detect how likely it is to be a scam. So this is like a tool for your grandparents. Like, so maybe the message is like, "Hey Billy, you qualify for a $5,000 rebate. Just call back and give us your credit card information." And we'll click analyze. And it'll say this is high risk. It'll give detected warning signs. So this is like a really simple, if we go to the prompt here, really simple prompt. And we've got the style guide in here. Like Matt said, we've got the fonts chosen, the layout, and they are mobile responsive, easy to read typography. Those are all really great.
Yeah, I think some people wanted to see another demo from scratch.
Yeah, let's do it. Any ideas, or should we do kind of a portfolio with more design language?
Yeah, I'll give a couple of moments for people to submit any ideas you have. But when I looked at the submissions, like there was like 50 people who submitted portfolio too.
Yeah? Okay.
Yeah, maybe portfolio.
Okay, cool. So
Like a UX design portfolio, trying to get a job in the gaming industry or something like that.
okay, that's great. Any kind of design elements that we should articulate here, like as far as
Like very kawaii, cozy games.
okay.
And that's
Okay.
what I do. If anyone else wants to add to, that's my aesthetic. That's why I really like the Uwu app so much.
Yeah, so maybe we can actually lift some of that style phrasing, but I'll just start. Write me a PRD that I'll hand to an AI code developer. I'm building a portfolio site for myself to get a job at a gaming company. The theme's going to be kawaii and cozy games. The site should be responsive, mobile friendly, and then let's grab some of that style from Uwu Forge. This is great. This style guide here. Anything else design wise, Grace, that we could throw in here? References or Yeah.
like case studies of good portfolios. Like I find that most people, the reason why I did this is because most people submitted portfolios on like what like one of Vibe Code. Maybe like best practice include like best practices of portfolios that landed a job.
Okay. Search the web for some portfolio best practices to help you land the job to inform our design PRD. All right. Create a vibrant, kawaii, and cozy theme portfolio site to showcase your mobile and cozy game concept art. We've got the color palette. We've got typography. We've got, I really like this, making sure that you have the rounded corners in there. Okay. Hero section. About me. Portfolio gallery, definitely important. Case study pages. That's a good idea. Contact. And then it's got the back end. What do we think of this, Matt?
So I think it looks good. Generally what I try to think about when I'm building out apps like this is like, what is the MVP that we can get to, and like how
Yep.
do we make it simple, and then build on top of that with an agent. Because I find, I think you mentioned, Billy, like the more information you kind of give to AI, the more it can get confused or not focus on the right things. And so I really try to think about like, hey, what's the most important thing, or like what are we trying to accomplish? And then start from that base. And so it's like, hey, if we want a really good landing page with really good design, can we focus on that and then
Yep.
start to like build in this other stuff? How do you think about that, Billy?
No, I think that's totally right. And it was making me apprehensive that it was including that backend database stuff, which is nice to add either later on or in like a V2. But I agree. I think nail the design and the look before you add app complexity, right?
Totally agree.
So I'll probably omit this, maybe keep this.
Angela says maybe adding personalized animation on portfolio render so we have our own GIFs. Like maybe like add some cute animations to this too. That's how you stand out.
Okay. Yeah. I think we've got this here. Yeah, that's great. So we'll make
Oh.
sure to keep that. And I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of anything that talks about HTML, CSS because Replit's smart enough to know that. I don't think we need it to optimize yet. That part is important. Okay. So let's go ahead and create app. You'll see also there's a bunch of different templates in here for different kinds of coding projects that you can try out. And you can even say what kind of web app you want. I like to set it on auto and just let it pick. And then I kind of say, paste it in a PRD for a developer portfolio site. Please build this. Anything else, Matt, that you would add in here? Don't make any mistakes.
Do it or else. No, don't threaten. Don't threaten AI.
Threaten doesn't really work anymore.
What happens if we threaten the AI?
I mean, when the robot overlords come, Grace, they're not going to be kind. It's a future. It's a long-term game, really.
That's true. Always say your please and thank yous.
They're building up an AI credit score for all of us. Okay, cool. So it's starting in the planning phase here. It's going to build a plan. And just to kind of explain a little bit, if you're curious on how Replit kind of works in the background, they actually have different LLM models that they test to see what part of the coding process they're the best at. So, maybe we go use this open AI model or this Anthropic model because it's better at backend, or this one's better at design. So they're always kind of testing to bring you the best of all those LLMs.
I also saw a great idea by Shayna in the chat. Maybe this could be like after you make this portfolio,
Mhm.
like maybe a tool that will critique your portfolio, like another
Love
app
that.
to like critique what Replit did.
Ah, this is just a random picture of a child. I'm liking this
Quick
so far.
so a comment. Can you manually edit your portfolio via code, or is it all done through prompting? Just want to call out Reddit or Replit runs code. You can edit files, you can connect to Git, you can push them to GitHub, you can do all of the complex things that you might want to do if you're trying to edit code. You can view code and edit manually, just not kind of while agents working. But that's always an option, so I want to call that out.
Yeah, as you can see, you've got in the code editor all these different options like you might see in like a VS Code. And then you can very easily connect your GitHub and you can create a new repo from in here and push commits to it. So it's super useful. And then the other thing that's cool is you can even SSH to edit the code locally from whatever your preferred IDE is. So super portable.
Oh my goodness. It is Comic Sans.
Yeah.
And I
I heard
thought we
comics is
pulled
good for
it.
dyslexia though. Yeah. It's cute.
So this is typically this is the visual preview, and I would hope that the actual app doesn't look doesn't look like this.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll see.
So are we ready to approve, or do we want to give it some notes?
Oh yeah, you can give it a follow-up prompt. Yeah, what do you think?
How do
What
we?
happens is oh go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, like, maybe the typography and I'm not eloquent enough, I guess, with design speak, but kind of, make this more modern, I guess. How do you translate that into AI verbiage, Matt?
I usually use terms like modern, minimalist, extremely simple. I think like Inner and Geist are two really good fonts, obviously. So you could say, do research to get, sometimes I'll say do research to get like design inspiration from leaders in space, so like Notion or like, whoever. So you could say do some research on modern minimalist portfolios. To like understand best practices in minimalist design. And then you could call out that you want let's say use Inter INTER for the font. And did you supply Billy? Did you supply like colors on this like that you wanted?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
I can go ahead and just
Well, it's gonna
reprompt
look
or
like well, yeah, it might end up looking like the uwu thing.
yeah.
So honestly, we could try this, or we could just try it from a new prompt, and we could kind of see what comes out, right? I typically don't follow up a ton on the plan, but we could also send this here to see what it comes up with. So I think research on modern minimalist portfolios to understand best practices in design, using Inner for the font, and I think you could also just, I think that might be enough. We could see what happens there. So a couple questions I'm seeing. How is Replit different from other CodeGen LLMs? So like Billy mentioned, we use a mix of models, and what makes Replit special is that this is running entirely in the browser. So you go to replit.com, you don't have to install anything. You can edit code directly in your browser without having to configure languages on your computer, and then from there you can take what you've built and deploy it instantly. And that allows us to tie in like yeah. So we have deployments here. You could approve and deploy. You can add a custom domain, like you can buy a domain directly from the deployment page, which you'll see here on what typically it's once the deployment's finished, you could just
Yeah.
buy a domain there and link it to your application. So it's kind of like all in one, right? And so what we've kind of been talking about as well is that you can add in persistent data storage. So you could add in a
Yep.
database and or object storage, like store images or designs or whatever. You can store secrets securely, like you don't have to worry about this stuff. And then more on like what you don't see, the app actually gets built with best practices. So we use a front end and a back end, and these are things that other apps just don't do. So it's kind of a one-stop shop, and maybe the most powerful. I'm biased, but I think the most powerful app builder out there.
Yeah, and I think as an outsider, the thing that kind of differentiates it is that Replit's been around since before kind of vibe coding, and so that Replit already built kind of this ecosystem for cloud coding, all this stuff that you're seeing here, and now have kind of supercharged that with AI. So they're building on really good bones versus maybe some other tools that just kind of popped up recently, didn't have those years of developing the infrastructure for cloud coding. So that's why I think it's great.
There's a good question
For
by
sure.
Kyle. Really quick. Since if you're like building up different tools, like what's the best way you transferred old prompted designs into a new chat, like direct code, inventory, or both?
If you want to save code from an old project,
Yeah, I think so.
so there actually is in here. We saw the Figma import. If you built one in Lovable or Bolt, you can migrate into Replit. Sometimes what I used to do is I would go use something like V0, which used to be only front end AI coding, but now it's everything. And I would just take those front end files and copy and paste them into I would add them as files over here in the proper folder. And then I would let the agent know, hey, I just added this new screen. Can you preserve the styles and integrate it into our website? Now, I don't know if that's the best way, Matt. What do you think?
So this is integrating old prompted designs into a new chat.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
just pulling code from anywhere into here to reuse it.
Yeah, I mean, you can paste if you can supply it as text, you can copy and paste. I think you just have to be very careful about what you're pasting and
Yeah,
not like confusing AI.
yeah,
Most Replit apps are built in React with Tailwind, and so if you like give Replit an example of React code, it can interpret that pretty well. But
yeah.
then you have to think about, do I have the exact same components? Do I have you know, uh, everything that I'm kind of used to building with. So if you have something in Figma, or if you have it in Lovable or Bolt, we support imports from those places. But otherwise, I think it's like, how do I supply the necessary context from this project to recreate it in Replit?
Awesome, thank you.
What do we think about this design? Very minimalist. Combat game designer.
That's
Hmm.
intense.
It's a little bit niche, but it's cute. It looks like templated.
So typically, right,
Uh,
this is the visual preview, and if we build
yeah.
it might look a little bit better. So
Yeah,
typically, I just try to get something that's good enough, just roll with it, and then we can
got it.
improve it from there.
All right, so let's do that then. Yeah, it's important to remember. That's a good point. This visual preview isn't the final product. It's something that you can review and kind of just so you have something quickly to see what it's going to build. In the meantime, we have this live transcription app that someone submitted. I think it's voice to text. Test. Oh yeah, there it is. This is so cool. Yeah, so it's got the different speakers. Wow, this is amazing. Super cool.
That's really good.
And
That's like faster than Super Whisper. That's cool.
wait, that's a great point. Visual references, style guide. And then yeah, I'm curious what they're using to do this. I wonder if we can see it in integrations here. Oh, these are ones that you can add. Yeah.
If you go to secrets, there might be like the API keys that. Oh no, I have no.
That is
I'm ju-
nuts. Yeah, so you can see all your Node.js packages here for the nerds. But cool. Oh, and the other thing that I didn't mention that's pretty cool is you can ask Replit to use Replit for for authentication, I should say. And it's a really nice way to let people just log in with Google or a Replit account. Because authentication can be kind of hairy to set up in an app. So it's a super easy way to get to like a prototype with user login if you're building an app. Cool.
That's a good question by Anita is how can we add more human to it? How can you treat that with AI prompting? I assume it's like adding more style, more inspirations, but curious what else would you do to make it look like it was made by a human and not by an AI by using AI to make it?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's going to be more of the tweaking once you've got it set up and um, going in and personalizing each section. You know, how can I make these card components better? How can I add in animations? What animation libraries might I want to add in? Those kinds of little things I think are how you can personalize it for sure.
I mean, I like this question just because I think there's so much content out there, and there's going to be even more as people generate more things with AI, right? But I think it's the same. The answer is the same as like if you start your portfolio project by starting with somebody else's template, right? It's not going to look like it was made by you. It's going to look like it was made by somebody else. But
Yeah.
then you sit down and you spend the time to like dig into it and put your own style into it. The same is true of AI generated content. It's like, okay, you might get something and it's probably really good. Like it's faster than it would have taken you to make it from scratch yourself. But then it's about sitting down and doing the work and like making it your own.
Yep.
And that's the amazing thing. And you can do that through prompting, through providing context, through providing inspiration and like acting like you're managing someone to help get the outcome that you want.
And I think something that maybe I overlooked is if you think about how AI works when you're telling it to make a portfolio site and you know research best practices, it's kind of going to build you like an amalgamation of all the portfolio sites, like so like the average. Maybe, like, if you just do kind of a very basic app, but if there might be ways to get creative and not tell it that it's a portfolio site, right? And say, and be very descriptive about, I want a site that's in this structure, looks like this, and has these animations, and then you can go in and add the copy in pictures. So I think there's a lot of different ways to get creative with designs.
That's awesome. Do we have more time for like another demo that we can take from the audience?
Sure, of course.
Okay. There were some interesting products. I'm trying to scroll up and see, but really quick, I think I saw that really quick. Can you repeat the prompt in ChatGPT how you generate the PRD? I saw that from a question. See that prompt. Use AI to.
Yeah. So here's the initial one that we didn't love. This is probably the better prompt, where we gave the colors. We made sure to be be stack agnostic. I meant to say be stack agnostic, right? So it's not directing it which kind of coding languages to use. But yeah, I think those are the main things, and then getting the core sections, and you can go and edit those. And yeah, not blindly copying and pasting, which I am guilty of doing a lot, but going in and really tailoring it, spending a little more time up front planning makes you get huge returns when you're actually building stuff.
Mm-hmm. There's another product submitted. It's not portfolio related, but um, Blake says, I'm in the process of creating podcasting platform for blind and visually impaired users. What about that? I'm also curious, like how AI understands like accessibility and how you can like prompt it to understand like the needs of like blind users.
So the question is a podcasting tool like for recording podcasts?
I think maybe like a site. Maybe Blake, if you're in the chat, explain it more.
Yeah, so
Like
something
maybe
like
like a
this.
Go
I
ahead.
think I would need to do like some research. I'm not super familiar with that sort of accessibility, but do some more research with ChatGPT or just on the internet on the best practices and the tools that maybe you could use. Search for open source tools. I like to search for like, let's say like um, blind accessibility integrations and see like if there's like npm packages that we can install. And just kind of browse and see what's out there so we don't have to kind of reinvent the wheel. Matt, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, that works. You could open up ChatGPT and say, "Do research and help me understand the options that are available for this." So I
Mhm.
do that a lot, either Claude or ChatGPT. Like, I'm trying to understand an area. So Blake says, "Podcasting platform for blind and visually impaired users." That's an accessibility thing, right? So, do research to help me understand solutions for making websites in the accessibility space. These are things that I would think about.
On the existing technology and integrations we can use to make our web app accessible. And maybe do one of these deep research. Yeah, so you kind of just learn and then maybe go through and pick, okay, I'm going to need this. I like this one. This one's open source. Maybe this one's free, and we can just use it to get started. Web app for recording podcasts. Not sure. Please just do some research. Tools and libraries. Yeah.
Right. So I think a lot about, hey, how can we use AI to do things that we would have to do ourselves and to expedite that process? But more than that, like, how can we use it to help us learn?
Yeah.
So to Blake's point, I'm a newbie to accessibility and like this sort of stuff. Well, normally if I was going to learn about it, I would have to sit down and do research for an hour, and like look up stuff on Google and watch YouTube videos and do all this stuff. And so it's like, oh, well, now we have AI models that can actually help us with that. So, hey, help me get background information on this thing, help me become an expert. And then once you're kind of an expert, you have the tools that you need to go prompt AI to integrate those services.
I'm sure there's a like plug and play, like screen reader, right? Yeah. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I would kind of hunt around somewhere like here. Just search, I would say search, integrations, APIs. If you ever need an API and you don't know where to start, can't find it on Google, I think Rapid API is a good library for things like this. And they make it really easy for new people who want to use APIs because you can just have one account and then pick different APIs and manage all your keys in one place and your billing. It makes it super easy, just consolidates everything.
Yeah, super interesting. So lots of resources you can use to streamline your learning. I know we have 7 more minutes. I know
Yep.
there's like a ton of questions. Do we want to dive into this more or tackle more questions?
I think more questions might be useful.
Yeah. Will Replit be able to recreate itself?
Yeah, I think I saw someone tweet about that yesterday. They made like a mini Replit within Replit.
I'm pretty sure like the AI labs think that they're creating super intelligence, but once we have Replit creating Replit, I don't know. That might just be it might be game over.
Limitations of Replit. What use cases is it not right for? Yeah, I think a lot of it is the planning and how can I whittle down the thing that I want to build to be as simple as possible, especially when you're starting out. When you're building apps, make them like single feature, just so you kind of learn what it takes to build that feature. And then as you get better and more practice, you can add in multiple features, kind of leaning on what you learned before. But if you're gonna, I wouldn't jump right in and be like, I want to make a CRM that does this, 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 and this with billing and users. Do projects that do each of those one at a time, or you're going to get frustrated because you do need to be kind of precise when you're doing complex apps.
Agreed. Yeah, I think it's like balancing the complexity with like an MVP. And I always tell people like just try to get to an MVP to like prove your idea is possible, and then kind of like add on functionality. And like I think to say, "Oh, hey, you can just, like, build the next Uber right now with, like, Replit," is today, maybe in 5 years, I don't know, maybe. But, AI coders, AI apps, they can't build anything, right? And the goal is to express your idea that lives in your head and turn it into an app. And for most of those applications, you actually can, build something that works. But the amazing thing is that these are things that would have taken weeks or professional developers or, like, months to even prove that they work. So I really see the strength as being like rapid prototyping, building simple internal tools, building personal websites, building businesses. But at a certain point, you do have to invest like a lot of time and effort, and it does become like just like coding is. It's hard to create amazing things. So
And it's hard to do some work to figure out product market fit and marketing and all that stuff. Yeah, it's more work
exactly,
beyond that.
I think
Yeah.
the
100%.
rapid prototyping is great because you can exponentially learn just by doing new apps. If you break an app blow up and do it the right way the next time, and that's how I got really good was just making like 50 Replit apps in like 3 months. So you can. It's one of the few areas I think that you can kind of bang your head against the wall and make improvements and learn just kind of with osmosis and some careful research and yeah.
I think
Yeah,
I
let us
mean, people overlook that, right? If you're always learning from what you prompt, right? You get all these questions. How do I prompt? Well, a really good way to learn is to prompt and see what works, and then go from there, or read or listen to podcasts. So, yeah, all good stuff.
yeah, comment down below what kind of apps you are now going to make. Would love to learn from that. I know there was like a Figma integration and would love a quick demo. So Nidhi asked, do I provide Figma files to design a responsive app? I know Replit has Figma integration, so it's like a quick demo we can show.
Yeah, I think I wasn't sharing at the beginning, but we had one in here. I think it was this one, and so basically all it was we go into Figma, we get that share link, copy, and then instead of clicking create app, import code or design, and then paste it in here. Now this one didn't import great. I don't think I had it pre-configured. Maybe if we have, I don't think we have another link that's going to work great. But basically, what it did was it imported it, and then I kind of talked with the agent on how to clean the code up to make sure it was visualized properly. We could click start. Yeah, and it'll go like this. And I think I connected my Figma account. I'm not sure. I made the link public in Figma just in case. Did I lose you guys?
No, we're here.
Okay.
Thank you.
Just in awe of the Figma feature.
I'm just, zoning out. Yeah, no, Figma import usually works pretty well. It does, if you have super complicated designs with a lot of like really complex components, it can be tricky, but that's true of any Figma import tool. So I've
It's
spoken
awesome.
with
I know.
designers who like it, so
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think I bungled this one. I think it was just a bad example to start from.
No, it's awesome. I know we have like one more minute left. Is there anything else you guys wanted to share with our lovely buddies here today? There's like over 200 people listening in.
Did you specifically say only use chicken images?
Oh, wait, yeah, I saw that. Wait, Angela says currently trying
Angela's
to
trying.
code a chicken website with Replit. Keep running into issues where AI uploads non-chicken photos. Is there a way to make it only chicken photos instead of random cats and babies? Is there a way to get Replit to make a detailed Python animation instead of different photos linking top of each other? Chicken images.
Oh, I'm trying to think of what I've used. I've used the Framer library for animations, and then there's another tool that you can go in and build custom ones. But I'm not sure about Python animations.
Replit works really well like with other React frameworks. So like Framer or Motion, I think as it's called, if you can
Motion.
understand a bit about Motion, and then prompt agent with that. As for the non-chicken images, we do integrate with like stock image providers, so it's possible. Or we'll generate images at times, so it's possible that something's off there. So I just say be specific, and if you see that continuing to happen, reach out to me, and I'll relate it to our team. But I love the chicken website. I want to see more chickens.
I want to see this too. Awesome. There's so many great questions. I know you have to hop soon, Billy, to another call. Do you want to like rapid fire through a couple more or like end it here?
Sure.
Yeah. I think Nishan asks, oh, there's so many questions here. Can you tell us what the prerequisites of building an app on Replit, like making connected GitHub repo and other things? Because I remember I used Replit like a long time ago when I was a student, when I was making a Discord bot actually. I just forgot to say that. But
Yeah,
yeah.
there's not, you don't need any of these things to start, but you can start from a GitHub repo, or create one once you've built the app. You just need a prompt to start, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, prerequisites are understanding your idea. You know, if you're the type of person that doesn't know what idea you have, even just starting building can help you understand the idea, and then you might start over with like a better description. But feeling out what you want, what the outcome looks like, what success looks like, and then you know how you can get there along the way. That's really all you need.
Awesome. Thanks so much. I know, Billy, you have another live stream, so appreciate y'all, Billy and Matt, for your time today. Any last words before we conclude?
No, thank you guys for having me on. You can find me on Twitter, Billy J. Howell, and I talk a lot about how you can build and sell AI apps and designs with my app agency, Stupid Simple Apps. And I'll plug my YouTube channel. It does have some good tutorials on getting started in Replit and some of the different features. And of course, the Replit YouTube channel with Matt is like the ultimate place to go for those things. So.
Also,
Awesome.
thank you so much, Grace. I'm very grateful to be here. Thank you, Billy. I'm a big fan of your work. Yeah, like Billy said, you can follow us along at Replit on YouTube or at Matt Palmer. I do some stuff there as well.
Yeah, on Twitter. I just send me the links. I'll send it over to everyone on email so they can connect with y'all as well.
Sure.
Amazing.
Awesome. Thanks so much. W's in the chat.
Thank you, guys.